What's up, everyone? This is Lex here with my co-host, Ernie.
Hello.
That was Ernie. So before we've done a podcast called, what is it? Why are we so geeky? I forgot it.
Me and my friend are
Me and my friend are geeky,
Yeah.
but I think that one would have been a better name. So I had this idea to do this new podcast. We still have the name in progress right now. I think a placeholder would be like Quotables. Kind of sounds lame and cheesy, but what it is basically, we're going to be analyzing some movies and just talking about movies that had like some great funny quotes that were just memorable to us that affect our everyday life that we constantly use, because Ernie and I love to talk movies and quotes and just reference scenes all the time. So we figured this would be the perfect podcast. So we're going to be starting with obviously the Star Wars series, because we talk about it so much. It's so dear to our hearts. So we're going to start with episode 1, The Phantom Menace. But before we get started, how you doing, Ernie?
I'm doing well, man. I'm actually pretty excited about this. You know what is funny is right now when you were saying it in my head, I was thinking the Star Wars theme song.
Which one?
The beginning, the one where the credits.
But we can't obviously use it.
Obviously, no, Disney.
All right, so basically what the rundown of this is, what we're going to be doing is just kind of running down the movie. We got some notes here. Ernie and I just recently watched again, just kind of writing down some quotes that stood out to us, made us crack up, maybe some revelations we've had, and we're just going to go from there. So let's go ahead and get it started. I mean, obviously we get the famous intro, the So I don't know about you, but when I was reading this, the credits and the opening crawl, when I saw this as a kid, what was this, 1999? I want to say.
I think it was like something like that.
99.
We're
So
pretty young.
it's funny because reading it now, it's like I probably didn't know what the hell was going on when I read that screen, because it's all about pretty much economics. Like it's talking about the Trade Federation and just like how there's an embargo and all that stuff. So I mean, how did you understand it more now? I mean, obviously you probably did, but
honestly, I'm gonna be honest.
I still don't fucking understand.
So I told you I saw it twice. The first time I saw it, I skipped those damn credits, dude.
Oh,
I don't know why.
I had to read them.
I just did. And then the second time I read it, I'm like, God damn, now I understand what they're talking about. But that's because now we've watched those movies enough where we know what's going on. But like
exactly
economically and so like pertaining to the real world, I don't know.
Because that's what that Star Wars is basically about. It's like really political.
Yeah,
like,
it's very
political ass movie. But it's funny because the music's so epic.
Yeah.
But you're reading the crawl, it's so boring. Like
It
it's just
is,
like the trade has had to stop and blah blah blah. They sent 2 Jedi ambassadors, and this is like, oh my. So it's cool. That gives a little rundown of the movie. But is it really needed? I mean, I guess it's just something that kind of came because I think. What was it? I think New Hope didn't have a crawl, right, when it first was released.
Recall,
I think I heard something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to do my facts again. But all right, yeah, let's kick into it. So that was that. So it starts off with the Federation. What I'm thinking is like these Korean kind of like it's just total stereotypical, like just like the way they make them act and sound and look. I'm just like, these guys are Asians for sure. Like that's what they're trying to portray.
Yeah, they're trying to portray. And then the way they are, we don't know what we are going to do. And you're like, wait, what? Like,
and they're doing some illegal activity. Also, they're doing something. They're not allowing some trade and
they're
some
doing
going.
The blockade.
Yeah, they're just doing, and that's basically what that whole mesh of the movie is first talking about. Then we're introduced to Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn, which I want to arguably say Obi-Wan, one of the best characters probably in the prequels.
Definitely.
Qui-Gon Jinn, he's pretty dope too. And going through it, I mean, obviously Liam Neeson's a badass.
Yeah.
And, I mean, dude, what do you got anything to chime in there?
I do, man. Well, we're gonna get into this movie, but I just because I don't know when we're gonna start like talking about the scenes in the movie, but definitely, man, Obi-Wan is an awesome character. Qui-Gon Jinn is fucking sick, dude. Like, I would have loved for him to be still in episode 2. Like, if they still wrote him in, it would have been sick. You know what I mean? But it's crazy. Like, I just wanted to bring this up because before I forget, you know that scene when like they're already kind of like. They're like, oh, the ambassadors are here. And then, like, freaking, they lock them in the door with the C-3PO, whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, there's another one, yeah.
And they throw some gas, bro. And then they just hold their breath for however long.
And they're in there for a while.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I actually wrote something about that. Like, so this is the quote. From I think his name was Viceroy. That's what I wrote down. That's what I picked up. So it's like, should be dead by now. Destroy what's left of them. But it's funny because like, it's like, what? I mean, why are they gonna waste? If they're dead, like, why are they gonna keep going? Just keep shooting. They gotta make sure.
They should
just make sure they're not breathing or something. I don't know. Like,
it's just funny because like they should have like left them there for a while. I guess the way they edited it, like they cut the scene so weird that it looks like only like a minute passed of them holding their breath, you're like, wait, what? How long now?
It's a super Jedi, ancient Jedi trick, if you've heard, is holding your breath.
Yeah.
But it's funny because when you go later, when they go into the underwater city, they have the thing they put in their mouth to hold the breath. So why not just use that. Okay, I mean that was his revelation right now.
No, that's funny. Yeah, dude. It's like I think that the ancient Jedi who learned that was David Blaine, I believe.
That's like there's Lord Blaine, Lord
Right.
Blaine. Okay, and the next thing I have is a stupid quote from the Asians, the two Asian guys, Viceroy. They're waiting for the droidicas, right? And then one of the guys goes, "Where are those droidicas?"
The droidicas.
And it's like they're gonna even do anything because obviously these guys are just handling however many of those droids they already have. So I thought that was pretty funny. That was a quote.
Just the way,
and that's a quote one of my buddies uses all the time, and it's just so stupid. It's so funny.
It's so
like
funny.
It's the cheesiness of this movie.
It's so interesting the way those characters portray them. Like it's like they're overly acting. Like you know what I mean? Like it.
No, they were like really selling it.
They're trying to sell that, and then it's weird. And I don't know. It's like the direction that they had. Hey, just yell in this weird ass accent that we're giving you. This is where the droid.
Well, then the next thing too is when they close off the gate.
Oh yeah.
It's funny because it seems like the Jedi, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon didn't really take much time to get to where they were. Because remember, like all of a sudden the door's shutting to close them in.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would they even risk being so close? I don't know. Anyway,
and it's kind of interesting because then they use the force speed. So I'm like, maybe they got there like that.
Oh, that's right.
That's what I was thinking. But it's like they only, I know,
real fast. Well, and it's funny because then they close the doors, right?
Yeah.
And then they're putting and then Qui-Gon puts his lightsaber through it to open it. And the other guy, there's another oversell. He goes, "This is impossible."
They're overselling it.
And they're not really even doing anything. They're just still standing there, like just waiting, just watching it happen. Like, oh, this isn't like can't they have any means of escaping? Is that the only door they can go through to get out? But they're just watching, like waiting, and
they're
like,
just waiting for it. He's all shut the other burial doors or some shit, and then they close it, and he could still go in.
Keep in mind, this is only like 7 minutes into the movie. There's so much going on.
Yeah, like,
they blew up the ship they came up on. Remember that? Like that's how they first started, like getting all like suspicious. And I had wrote this down too that Kenobi says, Kenobi being a badass, I forgot how it comes up, but he's like, the negotiations were short.
Oh, that's right.
That's just fucking all badass.
Dude, that's funny. And then like later on they're escaping or whatever. And then they're like, there's like this scene that I used to like as a kid I would love. You know, when they're like, he's like, where are they? Where are they? The way they talk. And then he goes, they're going into ventilation shaft.
Yes, I do remember that. I was trying to think of what you said. They're going, the fucking weird ass robot. Right now I was just trying to think, how did they escape that? Did they take a pod or something like to get out of there, or how did they?
I think they took that ship. No, the Nubian, whatever the fuck it's called,
something like that. Because all of a sudden,
ship.
Because like I'm watching this, everything's happening so fast. All of a sudden, they're on Naboo and they're running, right? They're running from something, and then I think the droid army, and that's when we first meet our star, Jar Jar Binks, where I think I have a majority of the quotes from.
I feel like this movie is Jar Jar Binks.
It's fun, and it's funny because like he's such a hated character, but like he's just the comic relief. Like he just like the first thing he said. I don't know if it was the first thing, but he says, I have that written down. He goes, "Oh my, oh mooey wooey, I love you." And there was a point in the movie I was trying to decipher like what their language was, but I only got a couple things. But fun fact though about Jar Jar, I was listening to this other podcast where they're actually speaking to the voice actor, and this was actually one of the first like CGI fully realized characters, like motion capture. I don't know if you knew that.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, and so like it was like an experimental thing. Like, so this is like the first like actual before like Andy Serkis doing Planet of the Apes and all that.
That's crazy.
So which I thought was really interesting. I mean, it sucks that it kind of ruined his career and everything.
Yeah, no, I mean, he wasn't like that's the thing about this character. I don't know why they hated him so much. Like he was kind of a dumb character in the movie, but he was supposed to be a dumb character. He was a comic relief, like you said.
And it was for kids,
Like, and then like, but the fact that they hated this guy for doing his job. You're like, come on.
Yeah, that's just how it is. They hate the actors.
Yeah, they're just ridiculous. But
characters.
Yeah, dude. It's funny that you say that, dude. Honestly, I feel like we're gonna write a lot of Jar Jar Binks lines that were very similar.
What's the one you have that you were talking about?
Oh, muy. I wrote that one, and then he goes, when he saves his life, and he goes, he tells him, it's okay, it's fine, And then he's like, no, I need to give you my life. It's demanded by the gods. It is.
But the gods it is. But he goes, more did you speak? He says spake instead of like spoke.
Yeah,
they go, more. They say that a lot. I know
they do, yeah.
And it's funny because he's talking about how he's banished.
Yeah. Because
so I wrote here,
a fuck up.
Why was he banished? And I'll get to that a little later, but it's just because like as we're going through the movie. But I'm just like trying to think. He said his explanation at first was Misa clumsy.
Yeah.
So, and which he is. So here I have a couple things, a couple little Jar Jar Gungan language. I have spect, which is expect, spake, speak, okide, okay, and misa is me. That's all I have so far.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Yeah,
I was just trying to decipher, but when we get to why he explains why he was banished, it's gonna be even better because like I don't know what the fuck he said.
Yeah, I know.
But so anyway, next thing you know, they're going down to the Gungan city to meet with Boss Nass, right?
Yeah, isn't that the part where they're like walking down and then he goes, this is the other line I was gonna tell you. He goes, excuse me.
Excuse me, because he's trying to figure.
He's telling him, hold on, and we're not, where are we going?
He's like, Misa banished.
Yeah, because he knows he's gonna, like, if he goes, he's gonna die. Like, they're gonna kill him, or they're gonna punish him.
He knows some shit's gonna happen.
Like, they're gonna torture him. I mean,
yeah.
And but yeah, dude, no, go ahead. He goes down and he meets that big ass freaking fat emperor dude. What's his name? I don't know his name right now.
Boss Nass.
Yeah, Boss Nass. And he goes,
yeah. So that's something I wrote down. I'm just like, so he doesn't look like the other Gungans. I don't know, like, what is he? Like, he's supposed to be like an ancestor.
I think he's like the alpha.
Yeah, he's got some kind of some fish fucked him, or I don't know what the hell, like, is whatever he is.
He looks different, but yeah, definitely.
But I wrote down the blubbering part. So what do you think the blubbering means? Like, he's displeased, or he's agreeing with whatever offer's coming? It kind of seems like he's agreeing.
I believe he's agreeing to a certain extent because as like if you pay like when I was paying attention to the movie, there's like a scene where he tells him like, "Oh, he gave me his life, so his life is mine, and that's something that you guys do." And then he goes, "Okay," like he's kind of like, "All right, that's fine." And then he does that shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he's kind of like, "Okay, that's fine," but it's not like
he came to an agreement with himself. I'm thinking, but it's funny.
He's all motorboating son of a bitch, dude. He's all,
yeah, he's motorboating a few of them. But then again, like I didn't see any woman Gungans or anything in there. I just all like the men or whoever. I mean, I don't know much of their species or anything, but anyway. So then they get their ship.
Yeah.
They get their boat and they're able to leave, which is fine. And then they kind of start talking a little bit more. And so he revisits the banished thing again. This is what I have it wrote down. So he mentions he has had a few accents. Now I'm quoting this. I wrote it down. I watched it with subtitles, so I wanted to get everything right.
Okay, so I did the same thing.
So he goes. So this is an explanation of why he gets banished. He said, "You'd say boom de gasar, then crashing their bosses, then banished. Hey blibber." And I wrote, I'll say it again. You'd say boom de gasar, then crashing their bosses, then banished. Hey blibber. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm sorry. Then crashing their bosses. Hey blibber. Then banished. What is a okay? So first, what is a hey blibber?
I don't know.
Do you know what that is?
That's funny that you say that. I thought that what he was saying when I saw it, I thought he did like he crashed something that was the guy's like
Boss
Nass's shit.
That's what it seems.
That's what it seems like.
Well, that's what he was saying. Der bosses, hey blibber. But I don't know what a hey blibber, hey blibber, hey blibber is.
It's like some sort of shit.
But boom de gas are okay. Then crashing. So he crashed whatever he was. It had to be some kind of ship, like some kind of. Something of importance to Boss Nass, but
yeah.
Hey blibber. Maybe a blimp.
Maybe.
I mean, but a blimp in the water or submarine. I don't know. So that was that. I mean, it's just dumb.
Yeah. He also says, "Whosa are you, sir?"
It's like, but because it's like some and like something in my head is just like whatever. Just like fuck. I don't know what to say in this part. Let's just fucking write down some bullshit. Like because like a lot of things happen like that. Like I feel like when they make up languages. But I think they have. Oh no, I think that's Lord of the Rings where he actually had a language.
Yeah, he
had everything
deep,
translated. Yeah. So I don't know how it is with Star Wars. He's probably like, fuck this.
I feel like they added Jar Jar. Like I don't know. I never looked into this, but I've always felt that they added Jar Jar later on down the lifespan of what the movie was. Because I heard that when like one of the things I saw was like the script was written and Jar Jar Binks wasn't a part of it, but like later on George Lucas kind of added something like that.
Oh.
I don't know if you ever heard that.
Maybe so he's like, this movie's too dark. It needs a character.
I know, it's just funny that he would go. I mean, all his movies are pretty fucking dark. Like not dark, but like you know what I mean. Like
the Star Wars series is could get pretty dark. Yeah. Not as dark as like Harry Potter, but
no. Harry Potter gets dark and so yeah.
But anyway, that's another cast. So yeah, as we continue down, they're driving around and there's a line that said. By Qui-Gon, he goes, "There's always a bigger fish." Because it's funny, there's like 3 different fish that kind of like try to attack him, but one gets eaten. You know what I mean? Something like that. But it's fun. I wrote like, oh, is that like a rip on Jaws? Like Spielberg and Lucas, they were kind of like hot. They were hot at that time. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
So I wonder. Well, I mean, back before, not in the 99 maybe, but I'm guessing it was a rip on Jaws. Maybe it's just like, hey,
Maybe that sounds cool. I never even thought of that.
That's just something that came to my head. And then later on, they came to film Indiana Jones together, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably did some other projects before that, but I just had that down as like
that's pretty good.
a
That's
little
solid.
fun fact. Yeah, I mean, what do you got next?
Yeah, no, next, honestly, well, after that, they, if we're going towards like, the scenes, they end up like, surviving that thing. And then like, freaking Jar Jar Binks is flipping out. And then Qui-Gon Jinn, he puts his ass to sleep. He's like, or whatever, he goes down.
Doesn't Obi-Wan say, you did it too much?
You did it too much or something. And then he wakes up again and he starts freaking out again.
Funny, so now they're on Coruscant. I don't know. I have this written down. I forgot how it gets to this point, but it's funny because someone mentions Coruscant to them. Maybe it's the Jedis. I think it is the Jedis, and till he's talking to a droid, and then the droid goes, he goes, Coruscant, that doesn't have a compute, and he goes, wait, you are under arrest.
Oh yeah.
Like, did they have to add? Oh wait, like this is a droid. Like,
yeah,
it's just
he's
like,
a computer.
why is he got the? Wait, like,
yeah, it's like,
like
they try to make
some
it
revelation,
silly.
like he had a brain. Like those things were dumb. Like they're just like mindless. I just thought that was kind of funny.
No, that is funny. I forgot about that, dude. Yeah, he's like, we're taking them to Coruscant.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
That doesn't. Well, wait, that doesn't compute. It's just some stupid shit like that.
Wait, Roger, those fucking dudes. That's just funny. Those are weird. And what happens after that? That's when they finally save like Padme and all them.
Yeah,
right?
they run into them and they
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think they get onto their ship and they take off because that's when they're. See, that's why the thing is like this movie's happening so fast. Like now, even
a lot of things are happening.
Even though
fast.
I just saw it, like I still like now I'm still like having some trouble like remember what happened. Like I'm like, in between these little parts because everything's because this is still like 20-25 minutes in. Like it hasn't even like cracked the surface.
Like nothing
yet.
Is like nothing that's like pertaining like super crazy to like the overall story has happened yet. Because
then all of a sudden they're in space.
Yeah.
And then that's when we first meet R2, bumps into Jar Jar Binks, saves the day with the he's. It's funny because all the droids that go onto the ship to like recharge the battery or the shield or whatever they're doing. Remember that part where they're on there?
Yeah.
All of them get wiped out like almost immediately, except for R2. It's like that's really convenient. Like they could have at least had one or two like kind of survive to the end, but like they just knock them out real fast. But
they wanted
R2's already a badass, so
they wanted him to be like the star of it, right? They're
exactly.
like, this little droid is the one that saved us.
And even though we already know about him, like, it's R2.
It's funny going back to it because like. When we were watching Star Wars, I don't remember watching Star Wars Phantom Menace and realizing like those little hints of like that's R2. Like you know what I mean? I was still a kid, so I didn't know all these things.
I guess you're right, huh? I mean, there were some like kind of connections, but like as like we got older, like once we got to like Revenge of the Sith, I think it's probably when it all kind of clicked. Like
I was like, oh shit!
And now we're older.
And now we're older.
That's interesting. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah, because like I remember, and this is like a testament to me as a kid. Like I loved watching the Star Wars movies, like. But I don't think I paid attention to them the way we do now. Because,
for sure.
Like, as I said, like I was saying, like going back to it, like I didn't know that Anakin Skywalker was going to be Darth Vader, not till episode 2.
Oh, when you were a kid?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I didn't know that. I don't know why.
Well, I remember seeing the poster. Remember the poster they had for it? It had him in the shadow of Darth Vader.
Yeah.
That was like the indication. That. But
we'll
get to Anakin.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he's a whole other quotable character.
Very quotable.
He's got quotes. So then they start, they're flying away, and this is kind of a dumb thing, but Captain Panaka, he's like the African American.
Yeah.
So it's funny because they're talking about the Hutts, Jabba the Hutt and all them. And I don't know if they did this on purpose, but Captain Panaka goes, "The Hutts are gangsters."
I do remember this.
Like, couldn't I have the other guy do it? Like, it's just the way the Hutts are gangsters. The way he says it too, it's just like, damn, that's super street. Like, he just like. I'm like, these motherfuckers, they got the Asians and the blacks, and they got the whites that are like fucking, Christian souls, they're magic.
I think it's funny, well, we're going to get to this character, but Seth Rogen also said that I think it was Seth Rogen. He says that, oh my God, what's his name right now? Guado, what's his name?
Oh,
Not
he's
Guado.
like a Jewish.
That he's Jew, he's a Jew.
I have that written down too, yeah. It's the like, stereotypes.
There's so many
like,
stereotypes. And it's like an testament to, I guess, like the time, but then also like, maybe we're seeing it that way, but I'm like, no, this is like pretty fucking, like they're really trying to play to a stereotype. You can tell.
Of course,
like you can genuinely tell.
Yeah, because like it is. That's a political movie.
That's just political, yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they're trying to de-stereotype off of Jar Jar. Just dumbass. maybe an American.
Oh,
that's what they're like. This guy's an American because he's an idiot.
Because he's dumb. Right?
He's fucking dumb. Anyway, they get to Tatooine. They land there because the ship was in bad damage, right? They need parts for it. So Qui-Gon mentions moisture farming. And I don't know if you know this, but Luke is a moisture farmer. I didn't know that for a while. Like I had never. I'm like, what the hell? How does that even work? I don't know. I don't know how that works or whatever. That is, I mean, it's space. It's space time. So so I guess anything is possible. But then the next thing I have, they run into the hut. Well, not Jabba's hut. Just kidding. Watto's hut, which I put the old Jewish merchant. He's like, Andy, don't touch anything. And then the boy, and then here comes Anakin running in. And as soon as I think his first lines were, "Are you an angel?" to Padme, who is the handmaiden at this point. She's not. It's not revealed. She's Padme. And then I forget what she says. She says something to him, but he goes, No, she says, "Are you a slave or something?" He's like, "I'm a person, and my name is Anakin."
Yeah, I'm a person, and my name is
Anakin. I'm like, he's has some pretty cringy moments. But looking at him now, like Annie, he wasn't that bad of a character. He's just a kid. Like he was a kid playing a kid, and like in this world. But I mean, we'll get to a little bit more into more things I have to say about.
I want to go back into it. He's very ballsy to tell that girl like
straight up. So I had this written down later, but I guess we'll talk about it now. Like,
no, sorry.
Well, how old do you think Anakin is right here?
So I want to say Anakin's like a 10-year-old boy, and like she's like a teenager.
So I had said 10 to 12 for Luke. No, Anakin. Anakin, and then for Padme, it was like 15 to 17.
Yeah, so there's like a 5-year difference for sure.
Yeah, there's a big difference
because she looks like she's like 18. Honestly,
yeah, she already looks like she's a
woman.
Like exactly. I mean, she does. I mean, knowing Natalie Portman, obviously, she's younger. She always looks good. But even then, she looks. Even then, she's like looks. Yeah, I was watching. I felt like a little Anakin. I was like, yippee!
Are you an angel?
Are you an angel? So that's what I was trying to figure out. But she's already like the queen of like and shit. Like I don't. Anyway, so like that, I think that was kind of like it's kind of awkward. But then
it was super awkward.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. Because I wrote that down. I was like, dude, it was super weird.
It is strange.
That like, I mean, honestly, it wasn't. It was strange that he says that. But then, like, you go into the story, and the second one, he's like grown up.
All of a sudden, he's
like
the same age as her. I think he looks older than her.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
And then like he's like hornier now. And we'll get into that one.
We'll
next
get to
one.
That one's got some good ones in there. Save it. So then, Anakin and Watto are listening to, or just talking to each other, and then the language is Huttese. I don't know if you know Huttese.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Huttese. So I'm guessing, the Hutts came up with this language.
Yeah.
Because it does kind of sound familiar when you think about how Jabba talks. And that's how he talks. And then he says something to Anakin, and he goes, yippee!
Oh, yeah.
And then he takes off real fast.
He tells him, like, you can go home soon or something.
Oh, that's right. He's like, you can go home. You're done for the day.
Yeah.
And
yippee! Yeah.
Is that our intro to 3CPO? I think it's later. C3PO.
No, it goes into it, yeah. Because, like, he walks with them, and then he tells, he finds the Jar Jar Binks, like, he gets in trouble with Saboba, remember? Because he bites that thing.
And that's when he goes, Cheska Saboba. So I'm guessing that means be careful in Huttese.
Careful, Saboba, yeah.
Or something like that. And according to Anakin, he is a Dug. That is Saboba's.
Yeah, he's
whatever the fuck that means. He's a Dug.
Oh, I thought he said thug.
No, he is a thug.
He's a gangster.
He's a gangster. But he, so he's a Dug. That's his origin.
Okay.
But it's funny because like I don't know if you noticed after that scene, the guy Saboba sits back down with, they just look like they're just fucking either like high off their mind or fucking dead. Like they're just like, and they have like this weird makeup on. They're not even looking at each other or anything. They're just staring off in his face. Like
they're probably on death sticks.
Like what?
Callback. Good.
Callback. But who knows? I mean, those are some bad homies. They didn't even try to protect. But I mean, Jar Jar's a little bitch anyway.
Because they were gangsters.
And then all of a sudden, a sandstorm picks up.
Yeah.
And so they have to head back to Anakin's hut, which he invites him to. Yeah, especially he wants Padme. And he's like, ah. Oh, I think that's when he starts talking about 3PO.
Yeah, and then he goes, do you want to see my robot? Yeah. It's supposed to help my mom or whatever.
You want to see all its wires? It's funny because when they're doing that, she's all sandstorms are very dangerous here. Yeah. And it's funny because everyone's covering each other up. But if you look at Qui-Gon, He's just walking,
just
just
go-
a fucking no. He just has his arms folded, just a badass, just
that's
walking,
right.
just straight. Well, no fucks. Like I don't know if he's like with his mind, like he's like moving the particles of the sand, not going in his eyes, but just a badass. Like you know what I mean?
You
like,
missed that one part too with the old lady, dude.
Which one?
There's a sandstorm coming, Annie. Go home.
You better go home, Annie. Like, did we really need that part? Like, we probably
lady.
didn't need that lady in there, but hey, whatever. I mean, maybe she was like a
Like his
grandma
grandma
or cousin or some shit. Because like there's like something like other podcasts I've heard, like there's a lot of history with like family members of actors and stuff being brought onto the cast.
Oh, okay,
Like,
that makes sense.
I've seen a lot of shit like that, and they have a little thing. And then so that's when we get into his house. And there he goes, Anakin hitting on Padme again. He's like, I want to show you something. He's like, I see your I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. So he shows him C-3PO, and then R2 talks to him, and he goes, "I'm naked.
Yeah.
I'm naked.
Yeah, naked.
My parts are showing."
Yo,
Or something. He's like, wow. Well, he doesn't do that yet, but so that's our intro to 3PO and their little crusade. A friendship that will last through the ages.
Oh, said spawn 8 episodes.
So then I think as I'm continuing, let's see, where am I at? I think they go back to Watto's, I think the next day, right? To try to get, did he offer to buy the parts when he first met him, or was it after?
So,
because he tries to use the Jedi trick on him, and he's like, "No, it doesn't work on me." You know what I mean? He gets all.
I think he asks him for the parts there, and then when he meets the little boy and all that, but he tells him like, "No, I'm not taking any of your."
Republic credits.
Yeah, Republic credits. They don't work here. And then so he goes to meet Anakin, and then Anakin goes like, and then his mother tells him, the only thing that these guys understand is gambling. And she's like, okay, is there anyone that's friend to the Republic that will like, help us? And he's like, no, there's no one here. The only person that would help you is Annie. And it's Anakin, And then Anakin's all, come on, Mom. It's funny because his character, Anakin, reminds me so much of the character he plays in Jingle All the Way.
All the Way. Yeah, he
it's
does
funny,
a little
like,
bit.
He's all, what does he say? He's all, always keep your promises if you
You
want to keep your friends.
It's funny. That's another movie I have written down for us to do like at some point. Christmas edition.
That's a good one. Very nice. But no, like there's like these, like just the way he acts, like you can kind of see that he's like trying to be,
everybody else has one. But the harvest until next year. And then I think at one point, Padme says something about like, oh, the Queen's not gonna like this, and then Qui-Gon's always like, the Queen doesn't need to know, and she thought, well, I don't approve, obviously she's the Queen,
she's the Queen,
but wouldn't Qui-Gon sense it? I guess not. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how that works.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I was thinking that like I think Qui-Gon might have had an idea about it because the way he kind of like
plays her a little bit.
He plays on her like her like how she's acting like I feel like he knows something.
Yeah,
Obi-Wan doesn't know for sure.
No, he's he's just worried about his rat tail. Was it just me, or did it seem like Qui-Gon and the mom were kind of had a little something going on?
I see that. Yeah,
he was like, "Are you all right?" But it's funny because like when he asks about Anakin's dad, he just says, "I can't." She just says, "I can't explain what happened." So I think that's the only thing we get about Anakin's dad ever.
It's
like,
weird, right?
Who knows where he came from or how?
Yeah.
But I think he references like some like the species midichlorian or something because he started talking about the midichlorians. So I think is that when they show him the pod racer? Is that when she shows the pod racer to him?
No, not yet. That's after the gamble. Yeah. Or after they tell him about the. Oh, actually,
no, because they start talking about like how to get the money. He's like, "Oh, I can do it," and like the mom is like, "No, I don't approve of it. Like, I don't want." But then she agrees to it. Yeah, and then she agrees to do it, and then he shows him, and it's funny because 3PO goes, he tells the R2, he's like, "I find that Jar Jar character to be a little odd," and he says again, he goes, "Very odd indeed."
Very odd indeed, because he freaking he goes, "I got my tongue." He
just, I don't know what the hell is wrong with him.
Yeah. I wonder if like, dude, even as a kid, I didn't laugh at his shit. And I was
3PO?
like, what? We were like, what?
He's just a smart ass,
yeah, but we were like, what, like 10, 8, something like that? I don't remember how old we were.
I think R2 had more interesting dialogue.
Yeah.
I mean, 3PO is like a cool character, but he's like that 3PO was like the damsel in distress. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? He was always getting into shit, and like they'd always somehow save him, but he was just always in trouble, which gets explored more later. So anyway, then he's working on his pod racer, and he gets it on, and he goes, "It's working, it's working." And I feel like I've said that line so many times in my life, just using it like when someone I can't get something to work, and I put it, I'm like, "It's working."
That's a good one.
Oh shit!
And then the little kids come,
Oh yeah,
the
the
little
guy.
friends.
You got the little blue guy, like
Is that Greedo or
Greedo
whatever?
kind of character. Maybe that's him as a kid.
That's what I was thinking that it was. I always thought that.
And then maybe the other kid is the one that's with him. No, I'm just kidding. No, not the ugly
damn.
ass dude.
We just
He's like,
fucking.
we cracked the code. But yeah,
He's the guy that says, "I don't like you."
Yeah, and they don't like it. Oh, well, shh. We'll come back to that later.
Yeah.
So yeah, his little friends, like I think some of them are talking shit like, "You haven't won a race in years," and you know, he's like, "You always crash," or he says that later.
He's like, "You never make it," or something like.
And then, so then Qui-Gon, I think it's the night, and he contacts Obi-Wan. He's like, "Hey, I want you to look into this kid for me." And then like all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, he has an over 20,000 midichlorian count."
Yeah.
And then I think he mentions more than Master Yoda.
Yeah.
So it's like we get some kind of a half-assed explanation of it later.
Yeah.
Which I have written down.
And then freaking the mom like watches it because he's like cleaning a wound that Anakin has that they never tell you how he gets the wound.
I don't remember
that. Yeah, so that's how he gets his blood. He has like a wound in his arm or something
that's
that he's cleaning or doing something.
Doesn't he say that he's got a hurt to the door or something like
that? And then
he's
so you don't get it, and he's just checking for if you have any infections or something like that.
Maybe from this dangerous sandstorms.
And then freaking that's when he puts it in the that thing, sends it to Obi-Wan, and then when he sends it in, the mom he's like, hey, they're talking about the midichlorians and all that shit. Mm-hmm. And then the mom's like by the door just watching.
Oh, she kind of asks, and he's like, "Is he a Jedi Knight, right?" And he's like,
"I don't remember honestly."
I don't know. He kind of starts mentioning it. He may very well be. So the next day comes, they go back to Greedo, or no, Watto, I'm sorry. And I thought that was funny because so Watto rolls up with a cane. He has a cane with him, right?
I don't.
And I'm like, this motherfucker flies. And he's flying the whole time. And he has a cane. I don't know what it is. Maybe to hit people.
Yeah.
But it's just that's
it's fucking funny. I forgot about that honestly because every time he's flying, he's like, you know, his wings are flapping, and then he's like, he's always doing that like wherever he goes.
He sounds like he's coming.
he's like, and his mom no.
And he makes that deal with them. He's like, "You get my ship of this, and then like you get the money. Either way, you win." He's like, He's like, "Let's make a bet. Let's let the fate decide, huh?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Red, the boy. Blue, his mother."
I'm gonna start using that, dude.
And that's what he uses the Force to like go in his favor. Obviously, take the boy.
Anakin.
Which is kind of fucked up in a way, but like obviously that's probably how the mom would want it anyway. Yeah, like no, free the boy, not her. Yeah. But it's kind of like he's like, "I want the boy, so I'll fuck the girl later."
He's all come back.
And then they're down by their pod, and then the little kid, his name was Kitster.
Oh yeah,
Kitster. It looks, I think he looked like a little Indian boy. I'm not sure. Yeah. He goes, "This is so wizard, Annie."
I wonder if that ever took off in that time. A wizard.
I remember getting like these little weird toys. It was like these things that you put on a platform, and it tell you quotes of the different characters. Every character it was.
And one said wizard.
And one said,
"Shut the fuck up."
But he would say wizard, or and like he would. I think he said the ain't, or "I'm a person. My name is Ernie." He would say that, and like. You don't remember that?
No,
it was this weird like platform toy and like these weird little like cartridges of the characters, and it was different characters. It even had the white captain that he's with, like asking about the ship. He's like, "You know a lot about your ships and stuff." You know that?
Yeah.
I think it was like Captain Rick or I don't know, something like that. Funny, I actually had a toy about that guy.
That's such a random ass fucking dude.
Random ass. That's the one I stood in line for all night.
I'm sorry, I keep thinking about because the way you make it sound like he's kind of like he has Down syndrome.
I'm a person.
Yeah,
that's fucked up.
That is fucked up.
Anyway, let's continue. So then we're talking about. So now we're in the section where they're about to get into the race, and it's funny because Qui-Gon's talking to Anakin. He picks him up to put him in the pod, and then Anakin goes, "Whoa!" No, he goes, "Whoa!" Or like, you know what I mean? Like, just a little kid, and which he is, he's a little kid.
He's a little kid. Did you know we're barely like even like less than 30 minutes into the movie? I want to say
because the pod racing happens really fast.
It does.
It just kind of just comes in. Actually, no. This was about like 50 something minutes, and really? I remember looking at it.
Okay, because I was like, this is like pretty.
I think I paused it after the pod race, and that's when I stopped it.
Yeah,
wasn't gonna come back to it later. But yeah, it felt like it. A lot of shit has happened. Like a lot of stuff has happened.
Now it's like going faster,
but nothing super integral to the story. You know, like I mean, it's just moving along. Basically,
yeah, it is moving along.
It could have been cut a couple times, but and then we have Jabba come out to announce the race. And I knew that was just like a little bit of fan service. Like,
Yeah, of
oh,
course.
it's Jabba the Hutt. Like everyone's like, you know, he's just all fucking sick.
Ooh, what is he?
And this is what I have written: Anakin 10 to 12, Padme. Oh, I actually put 18 to 20. That's a little too. That's reaching a little high
Wait, for those kids?
for Padme. That's what I had written.
She's
down.
18, 20. I thought you were saying he was 18. And she
Oh
was
no.
I was like,
oh, Anakin. He's
I was like, wait, whoa.
he's 18 months, cuz. But anyway, so that continues. So now the race starts. Now I always reference this sound of Sebulba's pod. Gung, 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 gung. It's like gung, 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 gung. That's just like always like, you know what I mean? It just always happens. And it's funny because I wrote down too, like because you know how Sebulba like kind of sabotages his pod, right?
Yeah,
He
pulls
takes
that
something
fucking
off.
thing off, yeah.
This thing doesn't happen till like the end of the third lap.
Yeah.
So why did it take so long to occur? You know what I mean? Like, it just
it was like a battery
something like that. I mean,
because that's when he loses battery too.
Oh, is that what it is?
I think so, because like that's when he starts losing. It goes, and then like one of them starts.
Oh, and he has to like connect
and then he
it.
has to connect it. Remember?
That's right. Okay, because I was just thinking about why all of a sudden like it kind of disconnects. Like obviously, you know, for the movie purposes. Like
it's kind of funny because he's spinning out of control, and like the mom doesn't look like super worried.
and she's like,
yeah.
But maybe Qui-Gon's kind of guiding him a little bit. I don't know.
What about freaking? We didn't mention the announcers.
Oh. Yeah, I forgot those
like,
guys.
Hey, what's that?
Good. They're just like super chill. Like I forgot.
And then one of them is like,
there goes Anakin, little Skywalker.
Little guy, and then the other guy's like fucking talking whatever. What is
he doesn't know what the fuck. I don't know
Fucking or what you call it?
Huttese. Yeah, those guys also didn't mention. That's when the kids announced like Anakin's never finished a race before. He's like, you gonna finish this time, Annie? He's like, And
then Padme's
like, you've never finished before. He's like, no. Not really.
Fucking kid, dude.
I'm a person. So then,
I'm sorry, I keep thinking the gangsters.
But it's funny though, because like the pod race was probably one of the coolest scenes because it was cool. Dude, like the pod racing, but it was fun. I actually had a Lego of the actual pod race.
Really?
That thing was fucking sick.
Fucking cool.
Like the toy was super cool.
Wow.
When I was super into Legos.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool, but it's funny because like, you know, it takes him a while to get started in the race.
Yeah, because
all of a sudden he's like second place. He's like he gets like real fast. I can't remember how many people were in the race, but I mean obviously everyone
there's a few
fucking
of them,
dying.
I know. Well, they're left and right. But dude, I wanted to go back to your like to the toys and all that you were saying. Do you remember like the big old gulps that they were giving out, like 7-Eleven cups?
Yeah.
And they had like a little like, you know, like fucking stand on the straw and shit like that.
Remember I forgot what place it was. They were giving out little pogs.
Yeah.
It's crazy because like how what did you say? I think it might have been Burger King. And it's funny, you know, it's funny. I got a pog of that fucking captain guy that I was talking about, the one I had a toy. And I remember that specifically. I was in church with my dad.
Yeah.
And I was playing with these little pogs in my hand, and all of a sudden he falls out of my hand and rolls down to the vent. I'm all, I was so sad. Like this guy does nothing in the movie at all, but like
he's just there.
He's just there, and I don't know why I had some weird obsession. I don't know. Yeah. Don't make fun of me, dude. I'm a person.
You're not a slave. You're a person.
I'm a person.
You sound like Lou Ferrigno, dude.
But it's crazy. It's crazy though how involved like places were when these movies were coming out, because nowadays it's really not.
It was
like
everywhere.
That. It's
right?
not like, and that was with everything. It wasn't even with that. Remember Pokemon? Like they gave out Pokeballs, like the gold bars, and
KFC,
like, just
and
everything.
Yeah,
it was just for every like movie. And,
not
like,
anymore.
It was cool. Like that's but now it's just like. Now they're like, you get apple slices with your Happy Meal. You get no toy. But
it's kind of it was
weird
so
how
advertised.
it progressed.
Yeah. It was so advertised in toys.
Maybe obesity wasn't a thing when we were growing up. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't something.
Now it's like fucking super proud.
But anyway, so we're back to the race. He wins. Finally fucks up Sebulba.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught this, but when they're celebrating, they show his little friends, right? They're all like, yeah. And the little Indian kid goes for a high five for the other guy, but totally ignores him. I think he does it twice, and both times ignores him because the kid's all spinning around. And he's like, I feel so bad. I was like, damn.
You know what's funny is that I saw that and I thought he was just putting his hands up. But you're right. He's trying to get a high five.
He's trying to get all slappy.
Dude, what's that noise that Sebulba makes when he crashes?
Oh, it's a pulley or something.
He goes, he just
says some shit like dookie doo. I don't know what he says, but
shit, dude.
He says some weird shit. What about like the little iPad they're watching him on?
Oh yeah,
I think it's pretty cool. I'm like, damn, that thing's sick. Like, who's filming that?
I know.
There was no one.
No one. Yeah.
It just showed like some kind of camera.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the Tusken Raiders that come out.
Oh, I didn't write about it. Yeah, they make a quick scene. They're just there to fucking sabotage the race. And no, I'm sorry.
No, wait.
No, they go, I got it mixed up.
I was like, what the?
How was there? What is their call?
They go, something like that.
You think about it, all these sounds kind of mesh like the same. You got and then we got, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, they're just real quick. We get a little introduction, like, oh, look, Tusken Raiders. And it's funny, the announcers, oh, looks like the Tusken Raiders are just killed somebody.
They're all chilling.
It's like, who cares? It's like,
they're all jazzy about it.
The motherfucker's dead. We might get, who cares?
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's just a death race. That's what it is. It's a super death race. Even that guy who never got his ship started, remember his ship gets all high wire? He's his name was like Quebo. He's like, oh, Quebo.
You remember that guy that's all like regal, dude? You know, he's like super like not luxurious, but like, you know, he's like kind of like
the racer.
Like yeah, and he's like fucking.
He's like some famous dude, but Sabo always wins.
Always wins.
Not this time, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're done with that. We get we didn't really talk about.
Go ahead, go.
Well, I was gonna say like the Emperor and like Darth Maul, because even getting back to the beginning, remember the Emperor's giving him and then giving him orders. I mean, I was gonna get more into him later anyway, but they do just appear like here and there. Yeah, and even Darth Maul gets dispatched to Tatooine to spy on them.
Yeah, he sounds. He's all assist, and those guys go, "Assist Lord here. Do you think we need that?"
He said, "Assist Lord." Yeah, they're all freaking the Asians. So finally, they get it, and then obviously Watto's pissed off. He's like, "Oh no, you cheated! It wasn't fair." Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It was. He saw right there.
He saw it like nothing happened.
He won. Like, well, it was not fair about it. But anyway, he agrees. He takes him. So that's when we get to Darth Maul when he's on the island, or not the island, the planet. And it's funny because I had the subtitles on, like I mentioned, and the little probe he has, the little dark probe that he has to go do a little sweep. This is how lazy things were. The subtitle says, "Probe speaks in droid language." That's it. It's like they never had to say anything. Like, it had just been like, some stupid shit. But I guess there's those times where you see like subtitles like crying in Spanish or something like that. So yeah, he goes, and then that's when he goes to go check it out. And then, wow, I jumped around a lot. But I guess because it kind of jumps around a lot, right? Because all of a sudden they're in front of the Jedi Council. Qui-Gon wants to show Anakin and all that. And he's doing the test, which I call the iPad test. It's all cup, ship, speeder.
I forgot about that.
And they're just fascinated. They're like, wow, he must know his shit. Like, it's like that's the test of being a Jedi right there. You gotta guess what's behind it. It's like a guessing game.
Yeah. Mix and match.
But that's our introduction to CGI Yoda, which I don't approve of.
Yeah, no.
I love Puppet Yoda is the best thing. One of the best things ever. We got Mace Windu for the first time.
Oh yeah, Mace Windu was a little bit he was pretty sick in this movie. I don't know why.
He was he was in the background. He's just like a dick.
Yeah,
he just like disapproved everything.
He seemed cool, and then then this is like the first Samuel L. Jackson movie I've watched where it doesn't sound like Samuel L. Jackson, where he's not going like motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, he has like this weird persona.
But then he pulls out his purple dildo.
He's does he look like a bitch? No, but like, and this is the first movie that he doesn't like overly dramatically is Samuel Jackson, if that makes sense. Like, he's a little bit more calm, reserved.
He trickles in a little bit in like the next ones, but not
next one he does
bad.
a little more.
Not bad, but like not typical Samuel Jackson.
I'm sorry, I just want to say this before because I know we're gonna get to this episode 3. Yeah. When he gets his arm cut, he goes, "Ah, motherfucker!"
Gangster, okay, fucking gangster.
The gangsters,
fucking gangster.
But we'll get into that one next time. Continue.
Motherfucker. Oh, that's great. So then we get the famous quote from Yoda when he's talking to Anakin one-on-one. And he goes, fear is the path of the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
I'm glad that you did it in his voice, too.
I had to. Why does he have to say suffering like that? Suffering. I guess he's like, he feels it,
He's feeling it, yeah.
But and he knows, and like and it's when watching these back, like when we were kids,
Yeah.
like you were saying, like these characters, oh, that was this was that. Like I didn't really connect any of this with the movies. Like,
No,
I don't remember
definitely.
like all of a sudden it all clicked when I hit like the third one.
Yeah, definitely.
So like, it's funny, like just thinking about that now.
Yeah.
I'm fuck, I would have like, but now when you look back, obviously it all connects. But
it's kind of crazy. Like it's fun that I'm glad that you mentioned that scene too, because I totally forgot. But watching that, when I was watching that scene, I was like, dude, this is actually pretty strong and powerful the way he says it, and I understand why he says it in that way, because like he's so old that he's seen like his best friends, his like people he's cared about turn to the dark side, and he's seen the suffering. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Why when he says it, he's like with such
and he feels it all.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
So I think maybe that's why he looks how he does. Because there was another podcast I was listening to where someone mentions they're trying to figure out what Yoda is, but then someone mentions that he's just a really old, shriveled up human. He was a human, but he's just so old and just got like super like consumed by like the force and everything that he just got real shriveled up, which is a cool point to like think about. But then again, like how do you explain the years and like he was some kind of creature,
he
but
got
maybe
Palpatine
not a human. Yeah.
You know, but, like how Palpatine looked all like,
oh yeah,
like, and then he got now.
Oh, we'll get into him later on too. So. But yeah, like I mean, I don't know what the hell Yoda is. Do you?
No, but we're gonna see the Mandalorian, see what they say, right?
That's true.
He's got to be some sort of alien. He's not a human, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I've seen like cool little like theories on this.
Yeah, which is fine. I love Yoda. Yoda's like one of the best characters. I mean, the CGI kind of fucked him up, but
yeah, he just looks so.
But
weird.
He's cool because he's like a younger Yoda. Like he's like not batshit crazy. Like when we see him in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I love. We'll get.
No, that's
there. That's prime Yoda.
Hold on, what is he? He goes.
Yeah, he's just crazy. He's a crazy old man, and that's what I like. But it's crazy, and it's crazy because, and I wrote this down too because I think Mace Windu says something to Anakin, like about him not being able to continue with his training. Anakin gives Mace Windu like this look of like hate. You know what I mean? Like because he disapproved, which foreshadows the third, what he's gonna do in the third one.
Well, yeah, the foreshadows like the second and third.
Then second.
You see that Mace Windu doesn't trust Anakin.
That's true. He already kind of.
Yeah, he already because of because.
What have I done?
Because like Mace Windu himself, he like I'm sure you know this, like his like fighting stance and all that shit. You know how they all have like different kind of fighting or whatever.
Yeah.
His is like almost borderline like Sith style of fighting, where it's like he uses like raw power and like whatever the hell else.
I would like to dig into his backstory.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's what the story. Hopefully, the new movie or whatever they do. It'll be
They'll
sick.
Something,
because he's a cool character.
A buddy cop movie with Qui-Gon. No, Obi-Wan and Mace.
Mace Windu.
Get the mace. He's all get the mace, not the spray. Can I say that real quick? You look like the character from The Grinch right now. Look at that hack job. Because your hair.
Because my hair. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that happens. And then all of a sudden they're walking away. He didn't approve, and then I think that's when Qui-Gon offers that he's gonna train the boy, and he thinks that Obi-Wan is ready to do the trials.
He tells him that he's gonna do it without their permission, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So yeah.
Do we ever see the trials of the Jedi? No, right?
No, I don't believe so. No.
I wonder what they are. I wonder if it's more iPad learning. It's a cup. No. He's all guess what? Guess which hand the coin is in. Oh, left. You pass.
It's like those cup tricks.
You pass. He's all, you pass. And then Anakin.
Which is not like Sean Connery.
And then Anakin goes, I keep hearing you guys talking about the midichlorians. He's like, what is it? And that's when he goes into his full explanation. I only wrote down a little bit because there's a lot more, but he goes, midichlorians are a microscopic life form that resides within all living cells. They are symbiotes to us. They tell us the will of the Force. Like that's kind of like paraphrasing it a little bit. We don't really get much. It's just kind of like, all right, like he probably didn't have to ask what it was. We could have just had the mystery. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
It's kind of a weird explanation.
I think with the midichlorian stuff, they always try to like bring it into with like the Force, kind of. You know, like how like, and then eventually they stop using midichlorian in the first one. You know, the first ones.
Because I don't remember hearing it in like this.
Yeah, like 3, 4, or episode
4,
3, 5, 5, and 6. Yeah, they don't say any of that.
They don't really say it, right?
No, I don't think midichlorian was a thing.
It was just kind of a lore that kind of just kind of happened. They had to touch up upon it.
Yeah, because I think at that point in time, like all the Jedi stuff that we're seeing is stuff that they don't even know about because Jedi's are dead. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like all this new shit we're seeing in episode 1, or like it's brand new, or not
Mm-hmm.
brand new, but you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like everyone knows this, but like when we're seeing Luke,
That's right.
nobody knows shit.
Everything's destroyed.
Everybody thinks Jedi's were a myth. They weren't. They didn't exist.
Yeah, or extinct or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, for whatever reason. So it's like that's why that even like Han Solo says, like, he goes, that old like magic trick stuff, like it's a joke, you know? Like he doesn't believe it.
No, yeah, you're right. So and then that's when they're forced to try to. They want the Gungans to help them fight, right? Like that's or something like that. And then that's when they meet up with Boss Nass. And I wrote this down. He says, "You bombad." I don't know what that means. He just says, "You bombad." And then all of a sudden, like, so the fake Padme starts saying something, and then the real Padme interrupts her. He's like,
yeah.
But it's funny because like all of a sudden, like Padme kind of had a little more like, oh, like, you know, the fake one obviously like a little more, oh, what, you know, like cheerful, not so deadpan. But all of a sudden she gets deadpan like the other one. She's like, "Mr. Boss Nass, why have you become that?" You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. Like, yeah. What does she talk? She's like, "Why are we doing that?" Or whatever. And then like she comes out. She's like, "Chancellor." What does she say? Boss Nass or whatever.
Yeah, Boss Nass.
Now she calls him like Emperor or some shit. Like she says his like whatever his title.
Nass.
Sounds like Anakin.
but then Boss Nass says, "I'm a person." So eventually he agrees. Well, anyway, but then Amidala, like, why all of a sudden she has to? I mean, I know she wanted to protect herself, but like, was she really protecting herself? Because the same Amidala was still exposed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me. But all of a sudden, she just has to pop in, maybe because the other girl didn't know what the fuck she was gonna say.
I think like those girls, those handmaid girls, like are pretty close to them. No, like close to her, where they know what she's kind of thinking, what she would want to do. But I think at this point, she's like she saw no other way, and she had to like actually show her true self.
But when you think about it, then when they have remember the council meeting with Chancellor Palpatine, if that's the fake Padme, she was holding her shit down, right? I mean, or was that the real Padme? But the real Padme was on Tatooine, right?
Yeah.
So it's like she could have held it down.
So,
it could have continued. I mean,
probably.
Did they have to do the bait and switch? Maybe not. I don't think so.
Maybe the bait and switch was so they can see that, you know, like since she's showing her true self, like she's like, "I'm begging you, this is the real me."
I see.
You know what I mean? So like that's why he agrees.
And then Waddle's where'd you get here from?
He's just in the background.
I stayed in the ship, bro.
He's you owe me money. But yeah, dude. Like,
okay, so all of a sudden, you know, okay, they're all good, and then he does a because you know he maybe he accepts whatever, and he tells Jar Jar, "You bombard general."
Yeah, and he like hugs it. And he's like, "Oh," and he falls.
Man. Yeah, and he fucking does some stupid shit. Fucking, he can have his own sitcom.
Yeah, so, definitely.
So then
finally, should be Mace Windu and Jar Jar Binks, dude.
And then so that's when they start penetrating everything, right? They all have to split up, and that's when we get Maul, and that's when the duel fates. Something. I want to go into. Well, no, let's go into that later. What you were talking about.
Okay, of course.
But that scene is just iconic.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the. It's and like just like the pod racing scene that pod racing and the duel phase is probably the best part. Is the best part.
Yeah, definitely.
Of the Phantom Menace.
Wait, you don't like when they negotiate with Watto?
Those are the good parts too. And where are those droids? But so it was cool. I mean, I wrote this down. Is Darth Maul? Is he the Phantom Menace?
Yes, I believe so. Right?
Is that
no. The Phantom Menace is Lord Sidious, I believe, because he's the menace. That's a Phantom. They don't know who he is because they're still looking for a Sith Lord, and he's a Phantom. Like they don't know who he is. They don't see him. They don't.
That makes
sense his presence. That's what I'm thinking. I've never looked into it.
Yeah,
but that's what I always thought was.
I should have looked it up.
Yeah. But that's a good. Yeah.
I mean, I have something to think about. It's like,
definitely.
I'm like, who the fuck? Because maybe it's Watto. So anyway, all of a sudden we're introduced to the badass double saber, which is super cool. We don't get a saber that cool until Count Dooku's crooked one. Remember, I thought that was so dumb in the second one. We'll talk about that later. But like, literally, his fucking lightsaber just slightly tilted, and it's like, oh, what? Like all of a sudden, like that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
But we don't get another badass one till like Kylo Ren, which I don't think we're gonna touch on those new ones. I don't think I really want to because there's nothing memorable about them.
I'll review them, but I won't quote them. I don't know a lot of stuff.
So yeah, I mean, we won't get a saber like that like until Kylo Ren comes into the game.
Yeah. Where or we do? Yeah, we're do. Well, I mean, honestly, Count Dooku's lightsaber, I like it.
I mean, it's cool.
I think the reason it's like that, it's so it can look elongated and they could trick the mind when they're fighting. That's the reason why he has it like that. But it's weird.
He has a little hook. Oh, I guess General Grievous would be the next. I guess General Grievous would be the next kind of badass with he doesn't really need
Kenobi.
So anyway, then they get into the battle, the Duel of Fates battle, and it's super cool. But there's this one awkward part where it's Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are fighting against Maul, and then all of a sudden they stop because Maul's like kind of on the edge. And then Obi-Wan goes in with a fake, but he goes, "Oh!" Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember.
Oh, but he doesn't do anything.
He doesn't do anything.
And then that's when Qui-Gon, and then that's when I think does Maul? No, not Maul falls. I think he.
No, yeah.
He fights back, and that's when Obi-Wan
drops Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that's right.
He drops Obi-Wan.
But he goes, "Oh!" He doesn't. It's just stupid. But it's funny because if you notice, Maul kind of dances around a lot and runs away a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He does it a lot. He'll do some fucking badass shot and then just kind of do a couple hops back and then just stand and then again. Did you notice that?
I did.
He did it maybe 3 times. I want to say.
He has an interesting fight.
It's pretty funny, but it's badass. He's super dope.
I think as kids we were just like, fuck.
I know what.
Because since then, because we watched still we were avid watchers of the originals.
Yeah.
And even the lightsaber scenes there weren't even that crazy.
Oh,
you know what I mean? They were super basic.
No, they're just,
so going into this and flipping and doing all this shit, you're
it was
fuck.
That's what at their prime, the Jedi
exactly,
and Sith were at their prime.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. So then while this is happening, we're also getting the space battle with Anakin and all them and all that stuff. He has his little and a lot of quotes come from this one. He's just literally talking to him and R2. He's like, R2, go back. What are you talking about? Yeah. And that's when we finally hear the wow, the R2 shriek, which I love. That's one of my favorite things. One of my favorite things of Star Wars is that shriek, and I do it a lot. I mean,
true.
I do.
I get a test of that.
And then that's when the Asian guys again, is this coming from our ship or something? It's and then even the guys are outside. Is that one of ours? They're shooting from inside. They're just super huh?
Why is he talking so calm when he's in the middle of fucking war?
It's one of ours. Then he's like, wahoo! Anyway, they destroy that ship.
He's like, let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. But it's funny because no one really mentions that Anakin did any of that.
No.
Later on, right?
No.
No one really says anything. They don't go it's the kid, some shit.
Yeah.
They're just oh, cool. Hey,
someone's doing it.
Hey, cool. This fucking 10-year-old just fucking did something we couldn't do. I'm the best pod racer of the right, or I'm the best flyer around.
What does he say? What is he shoots down their what's it called? Their force field or whatever.
Yeah, their generator.
Or something, and then they go, "Oh, do the windows down, dear."
It's gonna be that one. So what does that silver one in the beginning say?
The robotic one.
Yeah.
They're going to ventilation shaft.
She's back. But it's funny because it has that other the fish Asian looking alien, but it has one that looks similar down with them. You notice that?
Yeah.
And there's one in the ship and there's one down.
One down.
Anyway, that get captured and they're oh, all freaking out that they got caught.
Yeah.
Oh. So that space battle's one, which is cool. And then obviously they have the Gungan battle going on. And it's funny because they have the chance to redeem Jar Jar and make him kind of badass, but he still fuck him up. But he still does cool. When he kicks the droid and he starts kicking it around and it's shooting other droids.
It's so
it's just so dumb. It's they're trying to redeem Jar Jar and make him cool, but he's not doing it very cool. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then Jum Cha Cha, Jum Cha Cha. Remember that guy?
Whatever that other general is.
Whatever that other dude is. Obviously they have some kind of connection because he's the only one that's kind of cool with them. And then they end up when he's like, Misa give up. He's like, don't give up. I get out of this. Misa give up.
Misa give up.
So after Anakin does that thing, everyone gets shut down, which is cool. Those battles are all won. Padme, blah blah. So then we get back to the duel of fates. That's when it's just now it's Qui-Gon and Darth Maul fighting each other, and that's when and that's when he stabs Qui-Gon. Now I want to hear. We talk about this now. Let's talk about this now. So I want to hear your revelation that you had that I would never thought of.
No. So actually, I was thinking about this when I was watching the movie. So I always thought about this because, obviously, when you pay attention to Qui-Gon Jinn and and Obi-Wan and Anakin, and like their story, like they're intertwined with each other, right? And like if you pay attention, like the Duel of Fates is actually like the fate of fucking Anakin Skywalker's life. Because like depending on who dies, he's the one that's going to take care of Anakin.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. And I thought about it. I was like, what the fuck? That's what this is about. Like, because like later, like, like if Obi-Wan would have died, Qui-Gon Jinn would have probably won, and he would have been able to teach Anakin and would have like fathered him.
Yeah.
As opposed to Obi-Wan becoming his brother.
So,
you know what I mean?
So would you say Obi-Wan was maybe a little more inexperienced to teach him, right? I mean, he wasn't as seasoned as Qui-Gon was. Right.
Well, I mean, he knew, like, so I'm not saying Obi-Wan.
Like inexperienced to mentor in a way, mentor. Because he hadn't even done his trials yet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he wasn't experienced in like obviously Qui-Gon Jinn is a little bit more experienced with everything else, but I'm not saying that. I'm not saying in the Jedi way. I'm saying in the way of
in a sexual way,
the way of like a father figure that Anakin never had.
Like you mentioned,
you know what I mean? Because like if you think about it, if you pay attention to any of the teachings that Qui-Gon is kind of giving Obi-Wan throughout the whole freaking like movie in this one, you can see, which he does a lot. He's like Qui-Gon Jinn has been a character that he defies the Jedi Council. Like that's just who he is, because he believes that the Force. Well, I wrote this down actually. He would defy the Jedi Council because he believed that the Jedi should focus on serving the Force and not the Senate, which is kind of what and then this would cause him to think
politics.
Yeah. So this would cause him to
religion.
Think, this would cause him to think instinctively as opposed to following the orders of the council. He also believed in focusing on the here and now, which is something he tells Obi-Wan, right? He would teach himself to focus on present as opposed to understand the future and how it pertains to the present, which is what the Jedi do. They focus on what's going to happen in the future and how it pertains to what's happening now. You know what I mean? But Qui-Gon was trying to focus on the now and how he can fix the now, because like he saw, like literally, if Qui-Gon Jinn would have been alive, he could have taught Anakin a different way to be a Jedi. So instead of him becoming the Darth Vader that we know, he would have become the chosen one that he was supposed to be.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Which is, I don't know. I've always, it's just crazy.
That's a very interesting point that I would have never probably thought of.
Yeah.
I applaud you for that.
Thank you. I was thinking about that shit the other day when we were watching him, because I'm like, dude, yeah, like
George Lucas is like, I gotta use that.
No. Honestly, I probably am not the one that thought this. There's probably like a shit. Dude, if you ever watch videos of just people, they dive in crazy.
Yeah, they dive in.
Like this is just something I thought about in my ass. So
we probably haven't even scratched the surface of this damn movie. There's way more going on
so much
than we've just talked about.
There's probably like, that little insect that he steps on, that one was something stupid. You're like, wait, what?
That was Kai-Dai Mundai's son.
You're like, what the fuck?
That was one of the genocide, those little flies on the second one.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so that's super cool. I really like that tidbit. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me.
You're right. Yeah.
I would have never thought about that, and I applaud you for finding that out without, looking at videos.
No, just watching the fucking movie. Yeah.
So good job. You get a cookie.
Oh yeah.
you get a pog. So now
I'm a person.
So now it's just Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, 1-on-1, mano to mano. And the fight's good. Obi-Wan's holding his own. Busts his lightsaber in half. Bust Darth Maul's lightsaber in half. Actually, I want to throw this in real quick. Doesn't Darth Maul remind you of the creature in Insidious?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
A lot, yeah. It's through the window.
Anyway, he's a scary ass motherfucker.
Yeah, he's like super menacing.
Super demonic. The Phantom Menace.
Oh.
So that's why. So anyway, he bests him. Maul bests Obi-Wan, and all of a sudden he's hanging down.
Yeah. Well, we never got into like how he bested Qui-Gon, did we? Because like,
he kicked him in the face, right?
Well, yeah, but like I think like Darth Maul is like such a like he's a younger Jedi. He's really powerful. Qui-Gon Jinn is powerful,
a little more seasoned, yeah.
And I think
he's like the old Obi-Wan, and like when he first started.
Yeah, and he's using the Force while he's fighting him. You know what I mean? That's how he's keeping up with him.
Remember how he meditates? Maybe he's like restoring his life force a little bit.
And then he's trying to so he fights him to his full fucking extent. And I think he finally like he lets up, like he gave up because he can't anymore.
Yeah.
That's when he fucking stabs him.
Sad.
Yeah, and then no.
Yeah.
Again.
Sad.
And then he's all fucking,
the first time a grown man
he's jumping.
Oh yeah, he's fucking ready.
He's ready.
Put me in, coach.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's Obi-Wan's hanging off that little whatever the hell it is, the random circle in the middle of the platform, whatever they have it for.
Yeah.
Why is these rooms guarding this little circle thing? I don't know. So what I noticed, it's funny because Darth Maul kicks his lightsaber down, right?
Oh yeah.
Why doesn't he kick down Qui-Gon's?
Yeah.
Well, like it's there. Like he should have went back and kicked it down, then he would have been fine. So that's when Obi-Wan uses the Force. But it's funny because Darth Maul looks at him like, like what?
Yeah, I think he was so like that's what I was thinking about too, and I wrote it down, but I freaking erased it. Like I think at that point, Darth Maul was so fucking above it. Like he's like, damn, I just fucked up Qui-Gon.
He let his guard down.
Like, yeah, he let his guard down, and he's like, I've bested you,
and
there's nothing you can do.
He has the higher ground.
He has the higher ground,
which
dude.
revelation.
Yeah, and then a freaking so that's why I think when he does the Force jump and all that crazy shit, like he just gets caught off guard. He's like, and
That's
he just
true.
gets fucking.
And that scene is pretty intense. Like when I seen it as a kid, he just split in half. And if you notice, like his face when he's falling down, it's like open. He's you notice that?
That was the first movie to show actual blood come out of someone.
Was
Remember?
there blood coming out?
Yeah, it goes. Psst,
oh
like
shit!
Something sprays. And
I didn't realize that.
Well, in hindsight or whatever, the stupid lightsaber is supposed to cauterize. I think it's.
Oh
called.
yeah.
Yeah. So when you get cut with something, it just cauterizes you. So there's not gonna be no blood.
Yeah.
But like when he gets stabbed, like he goes. Psst, like little blood comes out. I remember that.
The fucking Star Wars universe went nuts.
Yeah, I don't know.
So anyway, that happens, and it's funny because he goes back to Qui-Gon, who still has some life in him. He gets up, he goes, he is the chosen one. He has time to say that, and I thought that was like, oh, okay, like he's literally was sitting there for quite a while, and all of a sudden he's like, he still has life left.
Yeah,
train the boy, some shit like that. So yeah, that was. I mean, so then it gets down, and then they have their ceremony, and they burn Qui-Gon, and that's when everything kind of gets talked up, and then all of a sudden they have a big parade celebrating. Yeah. And that's when Anakin has his little braid, his little rat tail.
And then Padme and Palpatine meet. You remember? And he becomes a chancellor.
Right that's right. He becomes
he's
a
all
chancellor.
Good luck on the chancellor or whatever.
He's like, I will make sure trades or I don't know something like that.
She tells him. I actually wrote it down. He goes. Together we will bring peace and prosperity to the Republic. But they literally. Together actually them together.
Yeah.
Because everything
kind of manipulates and stuff.
Yeah. They actually bring conflict and hardship to the Republic.
That's
because
crazy.
Anakin and all the shit that they end up doing.
Oh, isn't it crazy that that's the same actor that played in the?
Yeah,
That's a trip. Like I didn't realize. That's super
that.
cool. Like that's cool that they did that. And we didn't really touch up on the Emperor much, and like obviously something we already knew. It's like you see the foreshadowing, and like to the keen eye, you can tell like when he's talking to them as Darth Sidious that it's the Emperor.
Dude, as a kid, I did not.
As a kid, I had no idea. Like what the fuck? I probably didn't even realize it till who knows the third one. Yeah. Like the third one just brought everything full circle.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
So anyway, they have their and then all of a sudden the credits. So that was the Phantom Menace. Now, what do you give it out of 20,000 midichlorians?
Oh,
what do you give it? What do you rate this movie at?
As quotable, 20,000 midichlorians. No, because like
what do you give it as a regular rating?
Honestly, I'm not a big like fan of like rating and numbers. It's just hard for me because I don't know what the hell.
You're more of like a go see it. It's good.
Go see
it
kind of thing. Yeah, which is honestly, we did. Mm-hmm. We've actually spoken about this before. The older we've gotten, the more we appreciate these movies.
Yeah, I would
like
say
we enjoy them more.
Mm-hmm. I was going to mention that.
And I was going to say, I think we should, I would definitely tell you to go watch it again. But watch it for what it is, not for what you want it to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, it's I don't think it deserves all the hate. Like, I mean, it was the 90s, like the late 90s or whenever it came out. I'm pretty sure it was 99.
I'm going to look that up.
But, you got to give you the credit. I mean, people hated Jar Jar, but like we still talk about it to this day. Like we're always going to talk about it. Yeah. And going back now, as we're going to go through these movies, the trilogy, 99, right? Yeah, the trilogy. It's not. I mean, the prequel is not. They're not that bad. Like
they're not.
Because I think Revenge of the Sith's like a badass movie.
It's
like,
a great movie.
That's a good one.
That's a
like,
great one.
Yeah, the acting, some of it's stale and whatnot, and but it's not their choice. It's like well. Actors maybe because they're bad or whatever. But there's also the script that comes into account, the material they're given,
the directing and all that.
So I would say like if you're if you enjoy Star Wars or even if you don't like just a movie to watch. Ignore the opening crawl. I mean, it doesn't really offer anything. It's funny
No.
just to look at all the stupid shit like the. I know we've quoted that movie plenty of times.
Yeah. There's like I feel like there's like some quotes that are gone down the wayside that we didn't even mention.
Yeah, because
they're on there because there was so much.
I picked it up all again. I'm like, oh shit, like this is that. And all of a sudden like so. I'm excited to watch the other ones again. Because the next one we're gonna tackle obviously is gonna be Attack of the Clones.
I was gonna say Phantom Attack. I don't know why.
And that one's easy to decipher why that one's called. But I think that one was marked as one of the worst in the prequels.
Yeah, it was.
And we're gonna see again as we dive back in.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one in a while.
Obviously, that's probably the one I have seen the least. I want to say, because I've seen the third one. I mean, I can remember the third one a lot better than like the second and the first one. Like it's more, but. We're gonna give it a check out.
Definitely, and we'll come back to that because it's really honestly. I had someone recently tell me to go rewatch Attack of the Clones because that movie pertains more about what Lord Sidious is doing to Anakin than Revenge of the Sith. Someone told me that, and I was like, okay,
because it's like that's when the full transformation kind of happens.
It's kind of happening, and that's when you kind of see him talk more about the Sith, I guess. But I don't recall, so I'd have to watch it. But yeah, so. It was great. Honestly, really fun podcast. I'm glad you thought of this.
I was gonna say, did you enjoy it? Like it was fun to talk. I mean,
I did.
Not the exact thing I was like shooting for as far as the quoting, but like I like that we got to dive in and talk about these stupid ass quotes. Like it's funny.
I think we should do. Well, we'll probably talk about this later, but I feel like maybe we should do like a review of a movie and then just do quotes with it too, just like we did now.
We'll get into it. But if anyone's listening, shoot us some ideas or a movie you want us to talk about. We'll definitely hit it. But if we're gonna start with Star Wars, and then we'll just go from there.
I feel it's a long time coming with Star Wars. We always talked about Star Wars.
I think we talked about it on our geeky podcast not too long ago. But yeah, I mean, if you have anything else for us,
wait, yeah, I do. I want to say you should say this because you didn't say it. So what was the show called? The Quotables.
Quotables.
What was the other name though? I like that.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
If that's not the episode, if that's not the podcast name, I want that to be the title of the episode.
That can be the title.
Yeah, because that's a great fucking name, dude. I thought it was hilarious.
I think Quotables is like a pretty good.
Yeah.
But maybe who knows? We'll think about something.
Yeah. I'll let you think about it. This is a show you've thought of, and I liked it. I had a great time, honestly. This was fun. I didn't have to think about anything.
Exactly. Well, thanks for joining.
Definitely.
Again. We will see you guys next time as we tackle Attack of the Clones. Thanks.
Thank you guys.